Hi everybody, hi OV, hi Andrea, and welcome to this quarterly business update. And today I'm gonna give you a short update on safety, as always, first, and then an update on the strategy process that we are concluding at the moment that are gonna develop our plans and priorities towards 2030. And then some exciting news from Switzerland, but all that at the end. So on safety, we are finally making some improvements in our performance. So after some years with more or less the same poor performance, and then of course a lot of attention, training, and initiatives going in each company, we see a shift in the trend. So we have the last 12 months, fewer accidents in our factories and companies compared to the year before. So that is positive. Still, it's too many. We have this year had two incidents. One where a colleague slipped over a pallet, and another one where a colleague fell from a machine. And essentially, both of these incidents could have been avoided by just taking a little more time just to orientate and navigate in the factories. So please continue to keep that in mind. We're never too busy to work in a safe way. And then the other one is to talk. So continue to have conversations among your team members, but also with your managers on how can you make your operations even more safe. What is the worst that can happen, and what can we do to avoid it? Always safety first. But as I said initially, we are making really good progress here, so that is super positive. So please keep up that good work. And then another area where we're performing well is on the financial and overall performance of the business. So Q1 in 2026, as a lot of you have felt, have been challenging. So we had a bit of a slow start in January, but then we had so many orders pouring in during February and March, and we're also busy with the Easter egg season in St. Ives, and especially in St. Ives and also at OV Sweden, we have had extended lead time simply because we are so busy. But in some Q1 have been successful. We have been a bit behind on our service levels, and that's something we will improve over the next months. And by summer, we should be back in more steady performance when it comes to lead times. And financially, we are on budget, and also for April and looking into Q2, it looks really good. So well done, everybody. We continue to have a strong performance in OV. And then on the strategy process that we have been through in the senior team and in the extended management teams here the last months, the strategy process that are pointing towards 2030, we have developed what we call a full potential plan. The headlines is that obviously we want to continue to grow in OV. So we want to grow ourselves organically by entering new customers, new markets, but also growing with existing customers. And then we will also continue to grow through M&A, so acquisitions, getting new family members into OV. And then we have a very ambitious target towards 2030, and that is that we want to double our retail home baking business. And that's an audacious goal, and it will require that we take market share and grow a lot in Europe. So we need to detail plans and invest in that. So that's the headlines for the strategy. Then some other strategic initiatives that we will prioritize between now and 2030 is operations excellence. So as the last couple of years, we invested a lot in our commercial development and in marketing and branding and unifying as a group, OV on digital, the way that we collaborate, communicate, and so on. Then in the next strategy period, we're going to focus a lot more on how can we lift our operations excellence. So that is down to how efficient we run our factories, its service levels towards our customers, and of course also quality. Then another focus area is private label. We see that private label in retail is growing basically everywhere, and very much in our key markets, so the UK, the Nordics, Germany, France, etc. So we want to make sure that we position OV very strongly in this private label supply chain. So not only towards the retailers, but also the companies that supply the retailers. Then digital is going to continue, and with digital we'll get much better use of the systems that we have implemented the last couple of years, but we also want to excel in AI. So our ambition is that we will have AI agents and AI support in all our business processes by 2030. So this is something we need to learn to master. Then we want to get a meaningful position in the US market. So we are working on a project now to establish our first caramel line in the US in close collaboration with our friends at Denali. So our goal is that by 2027 we will be able to produce caramel also in the US. Then innovation is going to continue to be a high priority. So we want to be even more innovative, and we want to get in earlier with our customers and help them shape their future products. So those are the headlines for a very ambitious strategy that you're going to hear a lot more about during this year as we finalize it and we get ready to present it in more detail. And then some good news from OV Hans Casper in Switzerland. We've just installed solar panels on that factory. So again, in our pursuit to become a more sustainable business, we have installed now capacity to cover around 20-25% of our energy consumption at that factory. We already have solar panels at OV Sweden, and it's something that we are investigating also in Glasgow and at other sites. So a good step towards a more green OV. So with that, just a big thank you for all the great work and for working in a more safe manner and for continuing to performing and delivering well on our plans. And then enjoy the spring and see you next time. Bye.